everyone, Janie here, and today I'd like to share with you something you can do with your scraps. We all have scrap paper left over. It's beautiful. We really don't want it to go to waste, but there's not enough of it to use. It's just kind of lays around or ends up in the trash, but not anymore. Okay, so I'm just excited because the other day I was watching a Tim Holtz video where he was showing paper mosaic, and he was sharing this kit that he has to do it with. It comes with the grout, the glue, and the glaze, because unlike some of the other paper mosaics that I have seen, this is glazed, so it looks like actual little ceramic tiles. Let's see if I can get the light to land on that right. Always hard to get the light to land right. But anyways, let me see if I can get another one that maybe it'll show up better. There you go. And it's awesome. And I couldn't wait to try it. I mean, I really couldn't wait to try it. So I ordered my kit, and while I was waiting, I thought, what do I have around the house that I could just try this with now? Because I have tons of beautiful scraps, and I wanted to do it now. I'm impatient. It's just me. So I wanted to share with you what I used. Instead of the grout, I used gesso. And there are thicker gessos than this probably, maybe with more texture. I'm really not sure. This is the first gesso I've ever bought. But I used that. And in place of the glue, I used matte Mod Podge. And in place of the glaze, I used liquid glass, which is a close to my heart product. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you just the basics on how to do the paper mosaics with the glaze. And I'm going to show you using both the Tim Holtz product, now that I have it, and the products that I used while waiting. And you can see which one you like better, or maybe it's not a matter of what you like better. Maybe it's a matter of what you already have around your house. So let's head over to the craft table and see what happens. Since I'm going to be showing you how to do it using the Tim Holtz Distress Paper Mosaic Kit, and also show you using other things that you might have around your craft room, I have marked the back of this one with TH for Tim Holtz. This is just a piece of Kleenex box, cardboard Kleenex box that I'm using here, just so I can give you a small sample. So the first one I'm going to do is the Tim Holtz one, and this is called Grout. It's pretty thick and a little bit grainy, which is really nice. I mean, it's really creamy. All right, so I'm just going to spread some right here on this piece of cardboard. And it does really nice covering. I mean, just as you can see, it covers that cardboard right up. And I'm not putting it on real thick either. Of course, I'm going to get it on my fingers and on my mat here in a minute so I can get all the edges. There we go. I don't have it on real smooth, as you can see. I'm trying to get it up here so you can see it. Hard to get it on smooth when I'm trying to go around my fingers here. Oh no! Okay. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. I have it on there. You can get it as smooth as you like. Texture is good. Now I'm going to set that down over here to dry. And next I'm going to move on to the gesso, which is what I'm going to use on the other one. Let me wipe this off here. Okay. So this one doesn't have Tim Holtz on the back. And I'm just using this gesso. Squirting a little bit of it onto, actually I should have shaken it down closer to the end. It's not a full bottle. Okay, there we go. Oops, dropped it on the paper. The gesso is a lot smoother and shinier than the grout that Tim Holtz used. But you'll see what it's like when it's dry. I'll try not to drop this one. Okay. All right. So I'll be back when those are dry and we'll go on to the next step. In step 1, we use the grout, and yes, they marked the jar step 1 so you don't forget. And the grout is now dry and looks very nice. It's very textured and it does well at covering whatever you're putting it on. And yep, that was a Tim Holtz. This one is the one that I put gesso on. And as you can see, once it dries, the gesso isn't as shiny. It's matte, even though it went on very shiny. It's not as textured, and I have to say the coverage is not as good. I probably could have put it on a little bit better. So now with that part done, we need to go on to step 2. And step 2, right there, is glue. So what we're going to do is glue the pieces of paper onto the grout. And you can cut them into any shape you want. I've done them in squares just to make this go faster. But here's one done in hearts. And here's a couple of them done just in random shapes. So you can do it however you want, but we're going to do squares right now. So I'm opening up this using a paintbrush. First thing I want to do is put some glue right on to the grout, because we want this to be glue on glue when we put these pieces down. So let me move this one more out of the way there. Get over here into the camera, and I'm going to put glue on the back of the little square and then place it right on there. I'm going to alternate colors here. Glue. And then put it on there. I'm only going to do a couple of these on camera because I do not want to bore you. It's a long process. Well, it's not that long, but it is if you're just sitting here watching a video. So, put one more of these on. Just so that you get the idea. And then you go over the top. So after you get them all on, then just put more of the glue over the top. This is really easy. If you haven't figured this out yet, this is so easy. Okay. Now I will be right back when I have that finished. Okay. So step 2 has been done, and that was with the Distress Paper Mosaic glue from Tim Holtz. And now we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to use Mod Podge matte. And this is a large bottle that's almost empty, so I just poured some onto a little piece of wax paper here. And just like with the Tim Holtz product, we're going to put the glue on, or in this case, the Mod Podge. And then we'll start off with these little square pieces of paper and add some Mod Podge to the back. And then put it right in where the glue is. And it doesn't matter if you get the Mod Podge or the glue on top of the paper, because you'll be putting it on top anyway. And you can always slide them around and make sure you have them in the position that you want. Just put the glue right on the back of the little piece of paper. And again, place it right where you want it. Okay. So just like with the other one, I'm only going to do part of it on camera for you. So now I've got those on there. Now we're going to put Mod Podge right over the top. Kind of seals it and helps keep it in place, make sure it sticks really well. Okay, there we go. I got half of it done, and I'll be right back with the rest of it. I have the Mod Podge on there now. It doesn't matter that there's any streaks, it's going to dry clear matte. And this is the Tim Holtz one still that we used the glue on. It's going to take about 20 minutes to a half hour for these to dry. And the first stage that we did with the grout, for me, I felt it needed about an hour. I think it just depends on how thick you put it on. So we'll be back when this is ready for the third step. Now we're moving on to step 3, the final step, and it is the glaze. And so what we're going to do is first I'm going to make sure it's coming out. There we go. Okay, so this is the Tim Holtz one, and this is the Tim Holtz glaze. So what you would do is outline the square in this case, or whatever shape it is that your little mosaic tile is going to be, and then you fill in the inside. And you do this on every one of them. Outline it first, and then fill in the inside. Let's see if I can get it a little bit closer for you. You want to keep it flat while it's drying. As you can see, it's raised and glossy. And a little hint, I didn't bring my little straight pin over here, but it works out really great if you go just outside of where you want to be a little straight pin goes right in there and just lifts it right up so that it's not going outside of your little design. Okay, now I'm going to put the lid back on this for right now, and we're going to do the same thing, only this time we're going to be using liquid glass, which is a close to my heart product. And see, I'm going to move this because I'm going to finish that off camera. And I'll bring this one over here. Let's see. Uh-oh. Okay. I'm going to pause a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And I have that straight pen I was telling you about. I needed it to open up the tip a little bit on the liquid glass. And now I have it opened up, so we're going to do the same thing as we did with the glaze. Go around the edges. I think the Tim Holtz glaze is a little bit thicker than the liquid glass, but I think they both work just fine. So still doing the same thing, outlining it and then filling it in the middle. Okay, lift this one up. Okay, see if I can show them both side by side here. They look pretty much the same. All right, I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to finish filling those in, and then we're going to let it sit, and we'll come back to look at the finished product. The glaze is dry, and it took about an hour. It's nice and shiny and dimensional. And this is the Tim Holtz one. And so now we've done all 3 steps. We have put on the grout, we glued on the pieces of paper, and we put the glaze over the paper. But there's one more thing that you can do. You can give it a distressed look. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to use my favorite, which is Vintage Photo Distress Ink. And I have my little blending tool here. So you just ink it up and then just rub it over. And it won't stick to the glazed area. You can just wipe it off a little bit to get off any excess ink that's on there. Okay, remove that. And I'm going to hold up both so you can see the difference. That way it's not such a stark white. And that will work on both of these, so I'm going to show you. And that way you can see that both ways work just the same. Okay, that's not Tim Holtz. This is Tim Holtz. And there you go. Now the one on this side does look a little bit darker, but as you can see I'm still wiping it off on the side, so I didn't get it wiped off quite good enough. But I still think it's going to be a little bit darker than this one. I think it took a lot better on the gesso. You can also put that coloring on there before you glue the pieces on. So after you've done the gesso and the gesso has dried, or the grout, excuse me, the grout, and when the grout is dried, you can ink it then as well. And it looks good with a variety of colors, so I'm going to move these out of the way a minute and bring back some that you've seen already. With this one, I believe I inked it with sponge sugar, which is a pink. And then I also spritzed it with some water to give it that mottled effect. And then my daughter did the blue one, and I don't know what blue distress ink she used. She didn't even finish doing the side. This was just a sample she was throwing together. But the blue with the blue background looks really nice as well. or you could just leave it white. So those are the basics on doing the paper mosaic with both the Tim Holtz Distress, let's see here, there we go, you could see it. It's a Tim Holtz Distress Paper Mosaic Kit, or with the gesso and the Mod Podge and the liquid glass. And it's up to you to decide which way you like best or which supplies you happen to have on hand to do it with. The purpose of today's tutorial was to just show you the basics of doing paper mosaic and to show you some of the materials that you can use to do it with. I'm not promoting one product or another. I can say in my opinion that the Tim Holtz products are a quality product and a product that I believe he created just to do the paper mosaic process. But I was impatient while waiting for my order and wanted to find something else that I had in my craft room to do it with. And that's why I tried the gesso, the Mod Podge, and the liquid glass, because those are things I already had in my craft room. And they may be things that you already have in your craft room. I also feel that for the money, I am getting a lot more with the gesso and the Mod Podge and the liquid glass, and I can use them for other things in my craft room since I was already using them for other things in my craft room. Whereas the Tim Holtz kit, I think, would only be used for doing the paper mosaic. But I think they're both good choices. And whatever one you choose to do, I'm sure it will turn out great. Well, I hope you got some wonderful ideas of what to do with all your pretty scraps. And just a reminder, they can be any shape. Hearts, random shapes, squares, it doesn't matter. And you can use it with or without the distress ink. And because it's paper, you can also do things that are curved. So, you know, the possibilities are endless. And actually, I'm going to be trying it on something curved. So there'll be a video coming up in the near future about that. And also, my next video that I'm doing is a card fold that is very versatile, and I'm using the paper mosaic on that as well. So I hope you watch it. And thank you for watching today, everyone. Happy crafting. Bye-bye.